Hello and welcome. My name is Errity Green. This is Wise Women Oracle and Tarot, and today I'm bringing you a pick a card reading on what's next in love. So I look forward to being able to share these readings with you. If you find that you enjoy and appreciate them or resonate, share your story in the comments. Do like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a new reading pops up. If you want to get to know more about me, my work, personal readings, you can check out the details below or visit erritygreen.com/shop. Last but not least, I do have two other YouTube channels, both Psychic True Crime and Wise Women Television. I'd love to see you join those communities over there. All right, without further delay, I will place a picture up of your 3 card piles to choose from today. As always, you are choosing from left to right. Okay, so card pile 1, you're reading what's next in love. So I'm not going to assume whether someone is partnered or single. I'm going to assume that most people who come here are probably single. I very rarely get much views on relationship-focused readings. With that said, apply what is shared today, with your circumstances or conditions. So you're going through a period, I feel like, of healing. You might be cocooning. So many of you might be single, and or if you are in a relationship, you're going to feel like you're cocooning, keeping to yourself, more introspective. One way or the other, you are in a space of more solitude, more self-reflection, more introspection. I feel like in really getting clear on yourself, on what you want, on what your life is, on what you want it to look like, on where you want to go, on who you want to be with. I feel like you're finding a lot of clarity right now and moving through a period of transformation within yourself. So it's like you might seek or long for someone or something or that kind of experience. But ultimately, right now, your trajectory or where you're at or what you're focused on is more of a healing period, a cocooning period, a finding yourself, self-discovery, and your own way forward, like with yourself, right? So there's something here about moving through the things, maybe healing. This could be healing from old dynamics, the way that you used to show up in relationships or the relationships you once had. You might be exploring the dynamics in those relationships, exploring communication. If you are on the dating scene or something like that, you might be exploring the kinds of dynamics that feel right or work for you, the ones that don't, how you want to show up, or maybe how you haven't but would like to next time. It's like, I feel like you're on a path of learning, of growth, of evolution, of healing, gaining clarity, finding out what you want, what you don't, where you are, where you're headed. There's just a lot of clarity that's being found, a lot of introspection, a lot of reflection. So let's see what else is going on here. What's next in love? Yeah, again, I'm getting the energy of deep healing. A lot of this feels like subconscious healing. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the conscious is the healing is happening beneath your conscious awareness, but I feel like the things that have held you back before, the things that have once limited you, the things that have prevented you from progress or deeper intimacy, connection, and love and relationships. It's like all that stuff is coming forward and being revealed to you, kind of giving you that light bulb moment so that you're able to then show up, be, occupy, reside in the energy that you want to show up in a relationship, and then of course experience that with another. So let me give you an example. I don't think this is going to be necessarily relevant for everybody or even for one person. It just feels like a relevant example. And when examples come up like this, I like to share them because even if they're not relevant with the specifics, they're telling you what I mean when I'm sharing what I'm sharing. So for a long time, I found that I dated beneath me. And I'm not saying that there is a hierarchy or that anyone's better or worse. But having done a lot of the growth work, healing work, evolution work that I've done for 15 years, I would still pick or choose people who were emotionally stunted and or not interested in growth, healing, and evolution, who weren't interested in exploring deeper layers or levels of intimacy, people who just sort of wanted the wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, just more superficial, less substance, more superficiality. And I found that I would engage or connect with people who weren't emotionally available and or were people who wouldn't work through things with me or would judge me for being authentic or working through things. We just didn't see things because we were different stages of development. And so What prevented me though, or at least one of the things that prevented me, number one, is just not operating at that level for a time and not knowing I wasn't operating at the level that I aspired to be in, or the kind of lover or partner that I wanted. But another piece of that was that I was choosing people who were at a different level than me, because then I didn't have to feel insecure. Then I didn't have to feel scared. Okay, well, I'm the quote unquote better one. Again, forgive my judgments. I think we all are aware of how our ego shows up, but I'm sharing this with you, and I'm doing so candidly so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. Because my ego wanted to feel better about itself. So of course, if it dates beneath it, then it can always feel like the right one. It can feel like the superior one. It can feel like the one that knows better, has the answer, doesn't have to feel scared, doesn't have to show up. If it goes after the emotionally unavailable person, doesn't have to feel scared about receiving any love, and will never get it. It'll just be the same old loop it's always known. See what I'm saying? Like, it's not having to step out of its comfort zone. It's not having to face the music. It's not having to open up deeper into love. It's not having to face its limits or meet its edge so that it can break through that and expand. It's just, how easy is it to choose people who aren't interested in substance, who don't care for depth, who don't care for love, intimacy, or connection, and don't want to be emotionally available and or work through things, because then I don't have to. Perfect, right? It's like this irony where it was like I had done a lot of this work and was on this path of growth and healing, and yet there was this part that was reserved, because that was the part I was scared the most, where it would be most vulnerable to have to open up and do different or change or transform. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like, this is the kind of work you're doing, where you're looking at those innermost layers. You're looking at the deeper inner recesses, the nooks and the crannies, and all those pieces, parts of your subconscious. Those are coming to the surface for you to explore, to be aware of. To be revealed, so you can choose differently, and or do the work to become differently. It just feels like very much cocooning, very much in solitude, or at least, even if not alone on the outside, but introspective in terms of gaining that clarity with yourself, your own inner dynamics, how you show up, where you limit yourself, where you hold back, where you won't leave your comfort zone, what you are comfortable with, what you aren't, seeing where your limits are, where are your triggers, where's your reactivity, and you're taking a look at all of that. And I feel like this is what's helping you, give you the clarity that you need to move forward and actually come into partnership or union or deeper intimacy and connection toward the love that you seek in your life. So yeah, I mean, look at this. You're freeing yourself. I love this photo for you, card pile 1. Hold on. It says, relax the hold of darkness and be at cause. You're being cleared of all of that. All of that's going up and out. It's going away, right? Old energy is clearing out. I feel like through all of this, it's like this big revelation, like everything's coming up. Everything's coming forward. Everything that needs to be processed. Everything that needs to be released. Everything needs to be revealed. You might very much have a big legacy that you're quote unquote trying to embody, and that we have to try, but it can feel difficult or hard at different times for our ego, for our small self, little s, where it's like, this is an undertaking. Like, you have said, I want, and yet maybe you grew up in. And so now you have to expand a lot of those limits that you had for yourself. If you're saying, I want the best in relationships, and the best in career, and the best in success, and the best in money, and the best in integrity, and the best in emotional maturity, like, you want all of these things. You realize how much growth that is? I mean, you took this on, baby. You said, I want this. Now the universe is delivering, and you might be like, heck, what? And it might feel like a massive undertaking, but it's all just your own stuff. Worst case scenario, it's you facing you. Right? Worst case scenario, it's always us facing our inner demons, us facing our, slaying our inner dragons, us befriending ourselves. Like, it's always about us versus us. So that's the worst it can get. So as much as it can feel like a massive undertaking, it's truly just getting to know parts of ourselves more deeply. So it's not as hard or as intense or as deep as we might think or feel at times, although it is mastery. We're not going to lie there. But again, deep subconscious healing, excavating, pulling up the weeds, looking at the roots, finding yourself, determining where this came from, where, how far does this go up the generational line, looking at these familial patterns, learning forgiveness, healing, perhaps even forgiveness for your parents. I feel like this is permeating all parts, domains, aspects of yourself and your life, and it's freeing you and putting you and positioning you in a place to fully receive the love that you seek and come into greater union and partnership, the kind of partnership and deep emotional connection union that you seek. And ultimately, you're only going to, number one, either find or be with someone who's at your level, and or be satisfied by someone who's at the level that you want to be, meaning you have to do the work for it to show up for you and or for you to be satisfied by what comes up for you, in terms of what kind of partner arises or whatever. So what's next in love? It seems like right now you're in a period of, I don't want to say transition, but cocooning. It doesn't mean that there might not be casual companionship or acquaintances in the event that you don't have a connection or relationship already. It just feels like you're in a time of self, focus on self, working with self, or, journeying with self, partnering with self. So that might be your reality here for at least the next 6 months. I don't like putting time frames on that and making people feel limited. It doesn't mean you can't leave that space. It doesn't mean you can't explore or journey forward or, have someone come over for Netflix and chill. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means right now the primary focus is more about you supporting yourself, healing yourself, availing yourself to love than it is about coming into union or partnership with someone in the physical if you don't already have them. But deepening into love, expanding into love by becoming more intimate and expansive into love with yourself. So that's where you're at, card pile 1. If this lands, resonate, do like, subscribe, share your story in the comments, press the bell icon. If you're interested in me, my work, personal readings, do check out the details below or visit erritygreen.com/shop. Last but not least, I'd love to see you join the other communities on YouTube, Psychic True Crime and Wise Women Television, both of which are linked below. Thank you, card pile 1. Card pile 2 started right at 11:11. That must be a good sign for you. If it is synchronicity for you, then excellent. Card pile 2. What's going on for you here? What's next in love? So right off the bat, it's saying things aren't what they seem. I feel like you might be seeing something in your reality that isn't there, and or not seeing something that is there. It's almost like this is your perception here that's taking hold, as opposed to the reality. So you might be assuming lack where there is none. You might be assuming scarcity where there is none. You might be assuming limits for yourself that aren't true. You might be perceiving something that isn't true. In terms of love, it could be that you're thinking it's one way when it's not. If you're single, it could be, oh, there is no one and there is nowhere to find someone and I'll never find someone, like those kinds of things, where ultimately it's your perception. Everything is not what it seems. It's almost like it leads me then into, maybe you don't like certain things or meeting people certain ways, but are you putting yourself out there? Are you going out there and putting yourself in positions to be able to meet someone? You might have these beliefs or these limitations in place, but are they ultimately true? And if they aren't, then what can you do to experience the alternate reality? Sometimes just fighting ourselves or trying to rationalize our ego through it isn't all that helpful. So sometimes we have to ask the curious questions and try new things or show up in new ways. So it might be like, well, if there was someone out there for me, or if there was the possibility of companionship right now, or if there was deeper love connection, intimacy available for me. Now my ears ringing. What might that look like? Where might I find them? What avenue would I take? What action could I take, right? How could I invite this into my life? So it's sort of playing pretend with that. If this was available and if my perceived limitation wasn't true, well, what would it be like and what would I do? And the reason I like to pose it as a question is because when we just blanket statement show up to the ego and say, this ain't true. Even like the work by Byron Katie, although I appreciate it, although it offers something, that shifted consciousness for probably hundreds of thousands of folks. And I haven't touched that many lives. So there's something there. And it has supported me even in my past. I find that just kind of flipping something on its head and direct facts and truths don't really do it for me. The logic just doesn't do it for me. Even though it can make things a little bit more flexible. Instead, when I ask a question like, oh, well, if this wasn't true, what would it look like? What would it be? What would that mean? What would I do? It's starting to open up the space for possibility, and it can even give me a pathway toward action, doing something different. So then I can experience something different, because if we don't do something different, we can't experience something different. So somewhere I feel like you're limiting yourself. Somewhere you're not seeing the whole truth. Somewhere you've told yourself a falsehood that has kept you limited or held you back in a way that doesn't have to be true for you. That there is more possibility, there is more potential, and yet you might be seeing it as bad when it's actually good. This doesn't necessarily have to be just limiting yourself. It could also be maybe you're seeing your situation as something that you have to feel bad for. You pity yourself or feel a lack of worth or confidence or something like that because you maybe are alone or maybe you're single or you have been for a time. And it's like, again, even that's perception, because you could be assuming this is a time of self-mastery, of self-growth, of really coming into yourself, embodying yourself more deeply, all those really wonderful things about the spiritual journey or the personal growth path or spiritual path. And it's like you could really own that and sort of, wear your cloak of like, haha, this is who I am. Kind of like Doctor Strange when he comes out of his transformation in the movie. And you could be owning that, or you could be like, oh, someone's not here. Do you see what I'm saying? This doesn't mean that you're not partnered. And I didn't open with that disclaimer like I did card pile 1, but I'm never assuming that you're not with someone or that you are single, although most people who come to these readings are single. It could mean that you're just seeking for something else in your relationship or maybe even another relationship. So do apply what I share to your circumstance or situation and trust the card pile that you chose. But like as an example, let's just say, like, because we're talking about Doctor Strange and we're using that as an example. So let's just say in the movie Doctor Strange, the whole time, instead of doing the work with the shaman and like going and doing the inner work and refining his gifts and coming into his greater prowess and knowing and mastery, the whole time he was lamenting about, oh, I don't have anybody in my life and woe is me and where is thou, partner? And when will this occur for me? And it's like, well, look what's right in front of you. You're refining the self, you're on this deep inner quest, you're bringing about self-transformation, self-mastery, greater knowing within the self. You're birthing the self right now, maybe not a partner if you are single, or maybe not something that you're seeking if you are in relationship. This is just an example, right? You have to apply it to your circumstances. I've given a couple now here, and you're gonna have to apply it to your situation. But it's like, are you seeing what's actually there? Or are you seeing lack when there is none? Does that make sense? So you might be seeing a problem when there is no problem. You might see scarcity when there is no scarcity. If you're fully present in your situation and inhabiting your situation, your present moment fully, there is no lack, there is no limitation, there is no scarcity. When you're fully in gratitude and appreciation of where you are with what's right in front of you in your own body, and that's what's true for you, there is no lack or limitation because you've embodied it fully. You're in full appreciation, full love, and full gratitude with where you are, what you're doing, with what's right here. Right? Like again, in Doctor Strange, he was 100% committed, fully invested in the present moment with learning, with receiving, with experiencing, with mastering, with refining, with training. None of this other stuff was on his mind. He wasn't thinking, oh, I'm at a lack or a loss because I don't have my mansion with me and all of my, usual toys or whatever. Like that wasn't even a thought. He wasn't considering himself in lack or in scarcity. I mean, maybe a little bit. What drove him there was losing his hand, or the functioning of his hand. But it's like then once he got there, he fully owned this journey. He wasn't wondering why something else isn't happening, right? So something is not the way that it seems. Somewhere your perception is limiting you or limiting your experience of something. And I feel like there's more availability here for you to fully own this, be in it, experience it, stand your ground, or own your path, where you're at, what you are doing, and inhabit yourself fully. So let's see here. Yeah, so again, I feel like you're on this search, you're on this quest, you're wondering what's missing, what's not here, why isn't this happening, why hasn't this been revealed? And yet, I feel like there is an opportunity to fully be here. When you're fully here, 2 feet on the ground, filling your shoes where you're at, there is no experience of lack. There is no, oh, well, this is missing, or oh, something isn't here, or oh, something's not here when it should be. There is an opportunity to fully own where you're at. And I feel like that is the energy you want to be in if you're trying to attract or experience someone else who also feels the same way, as opposed to attracting someone who also feels lack and scarcity. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to mold ourselves into perfection. We don't expect them to be perfect. Not everyone has to be present or fully embodied 24/7. That's not the impression I'm making or trying to convey, but I am sharing the message, which is if we're fully in it and in it to win it and kind of filling our shoes of our own destiny, of our own lives, fully in the moment, we're then in a position to really be with someone who offers that same level, as opposed to sort of if we're in a position of insecurity, unworthiness, loneliness, not enoughness, there's not enough here-ness, right? Let's see what else is here. What's next in love? Yeah, it's asking you what, part of this too is the search that you're thinking is sort of lacking and things aren't coming up or things are coming up short. It's saying, well, be honest with yourself, or at least get real with yourself. Like, what is it that you want? Have you actually identified that? Are you clear on what it is that you do want? So some of you might be saying that, oh, well, something isn't here for me or something's not possible. But could it also be that you haven't been clear what you want, or that you haven't identified that, or you don't really even know, and then you're just kind of hoping something shows up? And it's like, well, have you done anything different, right? Have you put your money where your mouth is? Have you made yourself available to something different? Let's see what else is here. What's next in love? There might be more for that card. I feel like there is, but I feel like you're looking for something when it's either right in front of you and or you're not seeing what's already here. It's like you're sitting here, oh, what about this? Or what about that? But there's something right here that's available to you. Again, that could be you just being in your training ground like Dr. Strange, and like, why are you even looking or thinking about this other stuff? Or maybe you're in a relationship and it's like, look at what's right in front of you instead of trying to explore this other stuff. But I feel like at the end of the day, this is about you letting go of your attachments, i.e., oh, well, why isn't this going this way? Or why isn't it going that way? Or why isn't this showing up? Or when is this going to be here? Again, lack, scarcity, limitation, or even self-pity or loathing or loneliness and those kinds of energies. And instead, there's an opportunity anyway to release your attachment, your investment in that, so that you can free yourself to actually see correctly what is here. When you're looking at it from a state of acceptance, what are you actually seeing? It might even be helpful for you to journal this out, facts from feelings. What is the actual situation? What is the story that I'm making, or the perceptions or filters that I have? And how can I work with these facts to change the situation if I want to? Or are you just going to own that this is your training ground, coming into your own mastery, coming into your own knowingness, your own authentic self, your higher self? It's like, it can just be that. It doesn't have to be, perhaps, you might be looking for fulfillment elsewhere when that might be what's it and what's available to you right now. And I also want to say, and I did share this in card pile 1, this never means that you have to be single or stay single if you are. And this thing is talking about focusing on you, what's already here, misperceiving something, seeing the value that's here, being present, grateful, appreciative, filling the shoes of your destiny. It's like, oh, that's great. But I also would like to share it with someone. Okay, then, you can do that. This never limits you, but this is the message that's here for you. It's about being fully here and in it as you are. And then what does that look like then in terms of what could arise in love? So this is about right perception, owning it, being here now. Okay? Card pile 2, that's your reading. If this lands for you, resonates for you, do share your story in the comments. Like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a new reading pops up. If you want to get to know more about me, my work, personal readings, you can visit the link below or head over to erritygreen.com/shop. Last but not least, I'd love to see you join the communities of my other YouTube channels, Psychic True Crime and Wise Women Television, both of which are linked below. Thank you, card pile 2. Card pile 3, what's next in love? So I first want to offer the disclaimer. I forgot in card pile 2. I did it in card pile 1. This is for you if you're in a relationship, if you're single, if you're partnered, if you're self-partnered. I never make this about, unless I say so in the title, that it's just for one group of people. I do find that most people who go to these readings are single or self-partnered. Otherwise, they wouldn't really be here unless they're looking for something or trying to seek outside that relationship. Either way, though, you are welcome here. If you chose this reading, go ahead and trust yourself. But usually when I do relationship-focused readings, no one watches anyway. So more than likely for the single people, but it doesn't matter how you identify. This reading is, in fact, for you. All right, so card pile 3, it's saying something new has developed in your life. Something is changing. There's a flutter on the horizon. There's new birth here. So I feel like you've been through a time of sort of soul searching, being on an inner journey or a quest, or maybe kind of just like, gosh, what's this energy? It's like, yes, I feel a flavor of getting to know yourself or discover more of your self-worth, of self-love, coming into deeper inner knowing with yourself, really owning who you are, owning yourself, owning what you've created. There's a lot of self-ownership and building a deeper, stronger, more loving relationship with yourself that's relevant. But there's something here that you're giving birth to. There's fertility in the air. There's a new garden that's blossoming. It feels like springtime kind of thing, but it feels like a very sliver of spring. So it's like, if it's been a long winter for you, it's been a dead end for you, if long time, whether self-partnered, single, and or in a relationship, it's felt like a lack of energy, lack of vitality, there's no kind of refreshment and or something there. It's like that winter is coming to an end. Like there's a regeneration happening. There's a fertility that's underway. New birth is coming forward. It's like that first, blossom in spring where it's like, it's the hint of life, the splinter of life. It hasn't quite come fully forward. It's not fully blossomed or fully flourished yet, but it is there. It is there. And you might, I don't know if you see it, and maybe that's why it's coming through, is because you don't see it. You don't see that it's there, but it is around, right? It is like there is something here. There is something new. New birth is here. Again, it's like that springtime garden where you see the first plant pop up and it's like reassuring. Oh, okay, there's more to come, so maybe for a long time, it's been like winter, so to speak. So there hasn't been a lot of growth in this area, not a lot of fertility, not a lot of blossoming. But there is a hint here of new energy that's coming through, and you've built this energy, like you've cultivated this. And that's the part where I was saying like self-love or ownership of self or something. It's not speaking exactly what you went through, but it does speak to kind of coming out of a time of winter's end where you've maybe been doing some healing work, inner work, journeying, soul searching, something like that. Soul searching feels relevant. And now, as a result, something's come online, not literally online, but symbolically, where it's like, okay, there's something here now, but you have cultivated this within yourself. Is it because you're more available for love? Is it because you've opened yourself to the idea or the experience of more love? Have you developed more intimacy and connection and love with yourself? So now you've made this more of an available or true possibility or potential for you. But as a result of your soul searching, something has come forward now that wasn't there before, and now it's availing you in a bigger way than ever before to a deeper connection, a deeper partnership, and or a new relationship or partnership that might very well be on the horizon. It doesn't feel like it's right here, right now in your face or something in your energy field, but it feels like it's on the horizon. And so out of all the piles, you're the one who is most ready or primed or prepped for, I would say. Or I guess I could say who's going to experience probably a partnership or the potential of one in the nearer future in terms of, what's in your energy field and what's not. These are the ones that still felt like, so in case you watch them all or whatever, it felt like those were more still in a deep space of introspection, reflection, self-focus. And yours is this flitter of hope. There's like something fluttering about and it's coming into your reality at this point. And it's saying, whatever comes through, it's almost like whatever it is you seek is on its way, it's coming through, but it's saying you're the one who's apprehensive, card pile 3. It's saying like, this new birth that you have given birth to within yourself, from your soul searching, from your quest, from your, focus on self, your growth of self or whatever. This is divine. It is divinely orchestrated. It's meant for you. Like it's a blessing, we could say. It's a gift. And it's saying, but are you ready to receive it? And explore where you're not ready to receive it. Explore where you are ready to receive it. It's like, it's not necessarily saying is this holding you back or something wrong or something needs to be changed. No, it's more so the awareness of. So it's saying like, but you're still apprehensive. And are you aware of that? And if you're not, we just want to tell you that you are still a little apprehensive of what's being offered to you. It's like, there is an offering being made here and it's on the horizon, it's on the cusp. And are you being honest with yourself about what you want, what you're ready for, and what you're available for? And if you do want this, then continue to do the work. If you're not already, then do the work of making yourself available for this. And you might even journal on this or write it down and ask, what more do I need to do? Or how can I show up for myself differently? Or a prompt like that will support you to identify where you can open up to more intimacy, more love, to receiving the kind of partner that you do seek. That way you're very clear on the work that you're doing now and the work when they show up, so that when they do show up, you don't run away like a scared animal and or you don't self-sabotage, and you really can show up, and you can show up in the way that you want to fully receive them and to be a worthwhile and meaningful partner for them as well. Taking a look at that apprehension, knowing that it's there, but it doesn't have to be a thing. It doesn't have to be a limit. It does not have to have a lot of energy. It's like being aware of that. There's a part of you that's apprehensive, a part of you that might be scared, nervous, or, experience some like vulnerability in this. And it feels like you are still moving ahead. Like this energy is coming about. I don't want to say whether you like it or not, but it's like you've already set the stage for this. You've already created the conditions for it. Now it's being birthed. And so now it's your time to harvest. And then it's saying, and are you ready to harvest? And if there's anywhere inside of you that you're not, explore that. That way there's nothing in the way of what's coming through here and on its way. Let's see what else is here. What's next in love? Yeah, so at this point then, it's not about like sometimes we kind of get that news or get that information. It's like, okay, what do I need to do? And homegirl's on it. What's going to happen? And I need to put myself, it's like, we want to start changing things up and making ourselves available. And it's like, well, that might be okay. If that's what's coming up for you, that's fine. I have an itch on my nose. Excuse me. I have a fan going because my AC is off and I keep getting things like coming over onto my face, but it's saying, do you, do your thing, keep following your path, stay true to you, stay true to what is right for you right now, stay true to your path. It's like, right, we don't go, when there's a plant popping up in spring in the garden, we don't go immediately grab it, harvest it, and we're like, yes, yes, yes. We're like, we just keep tending to it, right? We make sure it has sunshine, we make sure it has fertile soil, we make sure that it's healthy, we make sure that it has water, we give it what it needs, we give it what it needs, we give it what it needs, it grows, we give it what it needs, we give it what it needs, we give it what it needs, it grows, we give it what it needs, we give it what it needs. So basically you're doing that for yourself, more or less, giving what you need, staying on path, doing you, doing your thing, focusing on you, just your harmony, your fulfillment, your joy, your confidence, whatever it is that's like doing you, and you're going to focus on that, tending to your garden, tending to your garden, tending to your garden, tending to your garden, right? And then boom, this thing will be revealed, i.e. another person, potential for partnership, companionship, whatever it is that you might seek. For those of you who are already in partnership, this could be renewed vitality or energy in the relationship. It could be something that you've been seeking for in the relationship, an opportunity for healing, or the person, has a change of heart, something like that. Fresh energy is what we're talking about, though. Fresh energy. Fresh energy on the horizon, in love for you. So this is about staying focused, tending to you, tending to your garden, and then boom, you're going to see it one day. You sort of kind of wake up, right? Or you go outside to your garden, everything has come alive. It's bursting with life, and there's bees and flowers and plants and produce and like the fruits of your labor. It's all there, and it's all you were doing was tending to your garden, tending to your garden, tending to your garden, and then voila, there it is. And so tend to your garden, tend to your garden, tend to your garden. Make sure that includes opening the heart, opening the heart, opening the heart, making yourself available for what it is that you want, what it is that you're seeking, because we did see some apprehension here. And then all things will come to a harvest here for you. Card pile 3. So card pile 3, that is your reading. If you found that you enjoyed this reading, like this reading, do share your story in the comments. Like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a new reading pops up. If you want to get to know more about me, my work, or get a personal reading, you can visit the link below or at erritygreen.com/shop. Last but not least, I'd love for you to check out my other YouTube communities. I have 2 other channels, Psychic True Crime, Wise Women Television, both of which are linked below. And I'll see you over there as well. All right, thank you, card pile 3.